What up, though? How's everybody doing? It's very exciting to be talking to you guys and gals. How you doing? Nita, Joan, Zachary, Akil, Karen. Thank you guys for showing up. It is exciting. I'm excited. I'm so excited. Why are you excited, Dr. Winters? I'm excited because I'm with the family. This is Thursday. From now on, I'm going to be on my own platform. So tell your friends if they want to check out Dr. Winters, come to this platform. I've been thinking today, and also I want to thank Yoshimad for that introduction. Uh, not everybody has a theme song, so I appreciate the fact that Yoshimad he gave me a theme song. Oh wow, wow, wow! Maybe one day I can become a superhero. How you going? How you doing? Go travel abroad. But anyway, I was thinking today that I'm looking at that situation over in the Middle East, and I'm thinking about the fact is that many of the people there they're under an apartheid regime. When we had an apartheid regime in South Africa, because of the fact that we Black Americans really supported the South Africans, what happened was is that we were able to get the country to divest from investment in South Africa, so that the brothers could get their freedom. I belonged to the Chicago Teachers Union back then, the Chicago Teachers Pension Fund, and so what we did is that we demanded that our union and our pensions divest all the money in any companies that were working in South Africa, and over time, through other Black people working with their unions, working with their pension funds, we were able, in a sense, to obtain, the freedom, of our South African brothers and sisters. But see, we have all these Palestinians over here in Michigan and all those other states, but they didn't work to help their people. They didn't work to try to see if they could get their people free over there in the Middle East. What they did, in the sense, is that they came on board and they decided, how you doing, Jay? How you doing, Jocelyn? Hey, what up, Lindy? They didn't try to fight for their people. What they decided when they got over here is that I'm going to be white and I'm going to try to keep the Black people down. I'm not going to work with the Black people because I'm white, you see? And now you see what happened. Now you see that because of the fact that they didn't want to work with us, we're not working with them. We're not going out there wearing the shell. We're not going to stand out there and try to fight for other people who don't fight for us. But they stood on white supremacy. And because they stood on white supremacy, their people are being impacted on today. Whereas we fight white supremacy. We go out and we try to make sure that our people are straight. We don't have to do that. We didn't have to try to fight for our brothers and sisters in South Africa. But we did that because the fact that we recognize, yes, as foundational Black Americans, we're the most hated people on the planet Earth. As foundational Black Americans, they really hate our women, and I'm sick and tired of that ish. Everybody want to jump on the foundational Black American woman because they know that she's the most beautiful, the most elegant ladies in the world. But they try to, in a sense, attack our women because they feel, in a sense, if they can attack our women, they can destroy our families. But hey, we're not going to stand for that, see? And now those Arabs are crying the blues. Oh, why don't you Afro-Americans support us? Oh, why don't you FBA support us? We suffer the same thing. Maybe you have, maybe you did suffer some of the things similar to us. But you decided, Palestinian, you decided when you came over here that you were going to be white. You decided when you came over here that you was going to have those little stores, those liquor stores, those little grocery stores, sell us bad food. And you felt that you were going to be able to overlord us because you said you're white, you're part of the white supremacy. Since you're part of the white supremacy, damn you. Damn you. And that's why your people are suffering today. Today I want to talk about The Color Purple, this movie. And The Color Purple is very, very important. And what makes this movie important is that The Color Purple is a movie that's come out basically to try to destroy the unity between black men and the unity between black women. You see, they want us to be at each other's throats. And this is sad. This is sad. We shouldn't be at each other's throats. What we should be trying to do is we should be trying, in a sense, to work together. We should be trying to make sure that we fight for our rights, you see. And we have to also remember this, that as foundational Black Americans, you have to stand for something. Because if you stand for nothing, then why should people follow you? Why should people know you, you see? But I'm going to get right into the presentation. Okay, let's get started. The Color Purple, Black Family and the Gender Divide. Go to my Patreon to see the slides. I noticed in the chat that there's many people from my Patreon in the chat. Thank you for coming, and I'm glad that you're here to support me. It's you guys and gals who are making it possible for me to do this research, because I can tell you is that much of the information that we have related to recent studies are usually behind a paywall. Because they're behind a paywall, I have to pay a lot of money to be able to get to those articles. I have to pay a lot of money to be able to buy books. And so I really appreciate the fact that those of you who join my Patreon, that you're supporting this video. In fact, this video wouldn't be made if it wasn't for your support. You can find me at Twitter at Dr. Clyde Winters 8. You can follow me on TikTok.com at Clyde Winters 3. I think it's over 590 or more looks at videos. Many people have put videos on TikTok concerning my work, some of my research, and I thank those people who put them up there. So go to TikTok, check out the videos. You know, let's push it up to 1 million views. That would be fun to see 1 million views. Seeing 1 million views of people looking at Dr. Winters, whoa, baby, it would be exciting. So go to TikTok to view the shorts on Dr. Winters. My particular page on TikTok.com is at Clyde Winters 3. Here you are. You're on my channel. This is where I have over 300 videos, almost 300 videos related to Black history. Any aspect of Black history, you're going to find it on this platform, you see. And this platform is a platform in which I hope that you will come and check out the videos and have your children check out the videos, because I'm here to teach. And I know that we need to learn. Our people need to learn. We have to fight this pandemic of Cades, culturally acquired immune deficiency syndrome. Yes, there's a pandemic. And this pandemic is out there to try to turn us away from ourselves. Joan was nice enough. Joan, I developed the idea of Cades, culturally acquired immune deficiency syndrome. But Joan in my Patreon, she was nice enough to say, hey, Dr. Winters, hold up. Bah. She said, it's identity too. I said, damn. For 30 years, I've been calling Cades culturally acquired immune deficiency syndrome. But Joan taught me that it's identity too, because when you begin to lose your immunity to whiteness, you usually adopt their identity. So Joan was right. Thank you, Joan. See? But see, this is the whole point about what it is that, listen, a Black man cannot do nothing without a Black woman. See? I noticed that case existed for many years, but it took Joan, one of our queens, to teach me something new. We're learning every day, family. We're learning every day, family, because the only way we can be one is to work together. The only way we can be one is to share an understanding of who and what we are. And this comes from what? Knowing our history. What is FBA? FBA is not a group. FBA is not an organization. FBA is a lineage. A lineage is lineal descent from an ancestor, ancestry or pedigree. As a result, we are descendants of the African and Aboriginal blacks who built the United States. Nearly Full has taught FBA that they are prisoners of war. Yes, we are prisoners of war as a result of white supremacy. A prisoner of war, a POW, is a person who is held captive by a belligerent power during or immediately after an armed conflict. The earliest recorded usage of the phrase prisoner of war dates back to 1610, you see. And that's an apropos time because, see, this is our country. People came from England, France, and Spain. These settlers came and they came to try to destroy and take our country away from us. That's why they wouldn't allow us to name ourselves. They didn't want to call us by our names. They didn't want to call us by our Aboriginal names. What they wanted to do, they wanted to call us colored people. And they used that term colored people, Negro people, anything but who we were. Because they didn't want us to understand that this land is our land. They told us to look only to Africa. And yes, many of our ancestors are from Africa. Our ancestry is African. The first Africans came over here 100,000 years ago. Since that time, millions and millions and millions of other Africans came over here between that 100,000 years ago and today. But we are the owners of this land. They took this land from us. They want us to focus on Africa because while we're focusing on Africa, they feel we will never turn around and say, hey, give me my land back. You see, give me my land back. People always say, why, Dr. Winters, why do you shout? I shout because when I talk too low, people say, Dr. Winters, I can't hear the video. I also shout because when I shout, you hear me. When I shout, you know me. When I shout, you feel me. Be one, baby. Be one. Black first. Nearly Fuller, he created a code. He said because there's a code, because we are FBA, Foundational Black Americans, and we're prisoners of war, you see. His code says that we should what? Stop snitching. Stop name calling. Stop cursing. I'm trying, but I curse too much. Stop gossiping. Stop being discourteous. Stop stealing. Stop robbing. Stop fighting. Stop killing. Stop squabbling. Yes. This is what Nearly Fuller told us. We have to live by this code. And by living by this code, we will have success and we will have a future. See, Nearly Fuller said, if you do not understand white supremacy, what it is and how it works, everything else that you understand will only confuse you. Because we are prisoners of war. He said that the purpose of studying Black history is not to find out how great you were. It is to find out what mistakes were made that caused us to be in the current situation. Yes. That's what this video is about. That's what most of my videos are about. Why are we in this present condition? Why do we have this war between Black men and women? Why is there such an emphasis on trying to separate us? Why do they need to separate us? Look at this, family. Go to Google, put in there, slavery. The first thing that comes up is you're going to see 70 to 80% of the pictures are going to be on white men beating a Black woman's ass. Yes, a white men beating a Black woman's ass. Why? Because they know that the key to our future is our queens. The key to our future are our goddesses. Because Black women, you are a goddess. Black women, you are a queen. And they know this, and they want to separate you from me. They want to separate you from us. They want you to be alone because they know that it's power. It's power when a Black man and a Black woman is together. The dice is always loaded against Afro-Americans, foundational Black Americans. If you notice, Whites love Africans, but they hate Afro-Americans or foundational Black Americans. Why? Because we are the Aboriginal Americans. Due to our heritage as owners of the land, they will always find a way to keep us down unless God steps in and flips their white supremacist script. Yes, yes. Love you. Love me. Love us. You know, right now, if I was to ask you, tell me a movie. Tell me a movie in which you saw Black love. Tell me a movie in which you saw a Black man treating his woman right. You can't tell me, you can't name a movie. There's not one movie you can name. If I asked you to name a TV show, you might say, hey, they had a little short one, but the only show where they had a Black man loving a Black woman and a Black man guiding his family in partnership. What did you say? I said, a Black man guiding his family in partnership with his wife. See? His wife didn't let him get out of pocket. I was married for 50 years. I knew my wife for 52 years. She was my best, my super friend, my wonderful, my everything. When I acted stupid, she didn't front me off, but when I got home, she'd give me the Bill of Rights. Nigga, what? See? And so they were very angry about the Cosby Show. White folks were very angry about the Cosby Show because, see, ever since we was freed from slavery, the first thing we wanted to do was to get our families together, to get the man back with his woman, and to take care of his family, you see. The Cosby Show centers on the lives of the Huxtables, obstetrician Cliff and his lawyer wife Claire, their daughter Sandra, Denise, Vanessa, and Rudy, and son Theo. Based on the stand-up comedy of Bill Cosby, the show focused on his observations of family life. The series aired from September 20th to 1984. It began on September 20th, 1984 to April 30th, 1992 on NBC. This show angered whites. It angered whites, you see, because all during the 60s, you see, they were separating Black families. And the way they separated Black families was putting Black men out of work. The way they separated Black families was firing Black men and replacing them with Black women or white women. The way they destroyed the Black family is that they made it so that most men could not find a job. And as a result, it's very hard. It's very hard to be a leader in your family if you're not demonstrating to your children that you can be successful. That doesn't mean that your wife may not love you and that your wife may not respect you. But as a man, you want to be able to take care of your family. As a man, you want to be able to show leadership to your family. As a man, you want to deal with strength. Yes, strength. You see, when I looked at my father, I saw a strong man. Yeah, he was shorter than me. But one day I was being mean to my sister. He said, Clyde, I heard you've been messing with Jeannie. And he picked me up by my feet and I was on the bunk bed and he slammed me between the bunks. I said, oh, I'm going to leave this old man alone. He wasn't old, he was 35, but I said, damn, I better leave this man alone. See, I knew that I was always strong if I could pick my wife up and hold her over my head. Yes, yes, yes. It's about strength. And the Cosby Show, that angered white folks because they saw a Black man loving on his wife and a Black man and a Black woman in partnership, you see. Looking at this movie encouraged Blacks to work things out if problems arise. This show later went into his daughter going to an HBCU, and we began to see more and more Black people trying to become, educated. More and more Black people trying, in a sense, to have strong families. More and more Black people trying to go to college, trying to be successful. You think white people like that? No. Yes, during slavery, they wanted us to reproduce. During slavery, they wanted us to be able to do all the work for them. But once we got independent, they wanted us not to be able to reproduce. They wanted us, in a sense, to be neutered, because they hate us. And they hate us because they ain't us, you see. And we learned, in a sense, from the Cosby Show that we are family. As I said before, the Cosby Show came out on September 20th, 1984. But white supremacists used the color purple to check the Cosby Show's positive black family theme. The Color Purple was a 1982 novel by an American author called Alice Walker, which won the 1983 Pulitzer Prize for Fiction at the National Book Award. In 1985, it was made into a film. They re-released this film on Sunday. It's a beautiful film. The choreography is beautiful. The music is beautiful. The outfits are beautiful. But they give you 23 minutes of black men giving a black woman hell. The white supremacists saw this as a major tool to counter the Cosby Show, because the first half of the movie shows a black woman being abused by older black men. You see, they expect me to believe this shit, Many of the first stereotypes about black women began with The Color Purple. This book was written by Alice Walker. In The Color Purple, all the black women was weak. In The Color Purple, all the black women, she let her man treat her like a piece of ish, except for one woman. In The Color Purple, the woman was all being so meek and mild. Damn. I'm a foundational black American. I didn't ever see no black women when I was growing up being meek and mild. I didn't see my father trying to whip my mother's ass. See? But you're going to make this movie, this stereotypical movie, where the black woman is afraid to talk to her man. The black woman is scared of the black man. Get the hell out of here. Get the hell out of here. I didn't see that. The Color Purple was critiqued for its depiction of black families, and particularly black men. In The Color Purple, power was mainly exercised by men over their wives. The book and movie centers on the violence and sexism of husbands and fathers in the household against children, and especially women, to maintain their position of power. This was a misrepresentation of the average black family, in which the woman often played a prominent role in the family as co-provider. I repeat, as co-provider and principal manager of the household and raising the children, you see. I am a brother. I grew up in Chicago. That means I have an urban experience, you see. The only time in the history of the black men on this planet was during the sharecropping, because during sharecropping, white men come ask the black man, bring your family down and work on my plantation. Yaza maza, I'll bring the family down, family gonna work. But see, those black people who worked in the city, I repeat, those black people who went to the urban areas in the north and in the south, the first one to get a damn job was a black woman. She usually got a job as maybe working as a maid or something, or maybe as a custodian somewhere. See, I had to look at it from the history of my family and other black families that came to Chicago. My family came from Mississippi. The first ones came up here was my grandma and my auntie. They got a job, and once they got a job, they was able, in a sense, to bring their husbands up. When they brought their husbands up, they talked to the white man, can you give my husband a job? They got jobs. After that, they were able to bring up more people to get jobs. Yes, that's how you usually get jobs. Getting jobs are no different today than they were in the past. If you worked on a job and you recommended somebody, then they would hire the person you recommend. The only problem we have today is that we have a lot of brother fuckers. Do you know what a brother fucker is? A brother fucker is a brother that won't help another brother get a job. And this brother fucker can sometimes be in the same family. This brother fucker can sometimes be that person who won't even help his brother get a job. Whereas the other people, from Venezuela, from Mexico. They help their brothers get jobs, you see. But again, to get back to the subject is that the Black woman has always been a co-provider. The Black woman managed the home. You see, when our mothers worked, if they had a job when they worked, your grandma was there. Now it's kind of a little different. Now I'm sorry to say to some of you young people, your grandmamas, they around in their 50s and they out twerking. So it is a little different. But back in the day, grandma was around the house. Grandma was there to teach you. Grandma was there in a sense to lead you and teach you in the right thing to do. See? But see, The Color Purple, they had to produce this film. They reproduced this film today. They didn't reproduce this film for nothing. You see? They brought The Color Purple because the roots of the war between FBA men and women did not begin yesterday. This war was manifested by the white man to keep us fighting each other instead of loving each other, so we can succumb to cage. Yes, they want to keep us fighting each other, hating each other. The goal of white supremacy is to separate the Black man from his woman. It seeks to make our men feel they have to fight our women to gain leadership of the family, and our women must always feel unloved, lonely, and wondering when their man will leave them. Yes, yes, yes. See? I didn't see no Black men when I was growing up trying to take control of the damn family. They worked, they brought the money home, and if they had a job, they worked, they brought the money home, and in a sense, gave it to the wife. I'm not saying they gave all the money to their wife, because a lot of them had a little concubine on the side or a side chick, but they brought most of their money home, you see. But I didn't see all this ass kicking and beating people's ass that we see in The Color Purple. No, no, no. They did that in a sense to make us not know our truth. White people have never wanted us to have stable families. The goal of white supremacy is destruction of the Black family, and the infliction of Cades, culturally acquired identity, immunity deficiency syndrome. Yes. The Cades virus is caused primarily when a Black person places the pursuit of European culture and values over the traditional culture and values of FBA and African people. This lack of race pride, knowledge of one's past, leads to feelings of racial inferiority due to Cades. Many African Americans, foundational Black Americans, are ignorant of their past and thus they lack the human values necessary to protect FBA culture from self-destruction. Yes, they want to tell you that we don't have a culture. We do have a culture. We don't have no culture of beating our women's ass. See? We do not have a culture of beating our women's ass. As a man, you may not listen to your woman. That's why we fuck up a lot. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, that's why we fuck up a lot, because we don't listen to our women. But we don't go around whipping our women's asses, because we know that the only way we can be successful is if we work as a unit. The Black man, the Black woman. I'm not talking about no idealized family. Yes, there were some families where there was, in a sense, abuse. I had aunties. They married men. These men abused them. But you know what my aunties did? One night that brother came home and they had went up north, or they had gone somewhere else. See, I don't know how many of my aunties and other women I knew that after their husbands died, I don't say this was right, but after their husbands died, they went back down south and got all of his money and wealth, because most of the time back in the day, most Black men, they married once and they didn't get a divorce. And so that meant that when their wives left them, if they were abusers or if they wasn't no good, then those women were the only ones who had the marriage license so they could come back and get their wealth. You see, but the thing is this, is that I didn't look around. I was nosy. I'm not gonna tell a lie. I was nosy growing up. See, I didn't see nobody women getting their ass beat. I didn't see I didn't see around. My mom and them told me about being down south, and they didn't talk about men running every damn thing down south. They told me what? Down south, you had a rifle, you went out hunting. See, most of the time, most black men wasn't even home. Most of the time they was out hunting, or they was out with their friends drinking, or they was out gambling. They didn't have time to be at home whooping people's ass. Sis. But the color purple, and you go see it now, if you waste your money on it, I wouldn't waste my money on it, because it's the same damn film. The only difference is they added music to it, and they made the scenes a little more beautiful. Nobody can deny that The Color Purple 2023 is not a beautiful film. It is filmed good. The costumes are good, but that doesn't mean it's good for you. That film was not made with a purpose to highlight to you the black culture. They wanted to invent a culture for you. I do not know about women from Africa. I do not know about women from Caribbean, but I know a foundational black American woman is not going to let you whoop her ass. And you get away with it. That's what I know. What is worse, these blacks can know they are perpetuating a lie, but do it anyway because they feel other blacks are too ignorant to see through their deception. The aim of knowing your history is to strengthen your cultural awareness of black and African people, so you can have the self-confidence to fight Cades. You got to be one. You got to be B1. To fight Cades, you must be B1. Hold your woman close. Hold your man close. Hold your children even closer. Yes. B1 in the chat. Put B1, please. There's no hiding place down there. There's no hiding place down there. Oh, I went to the rock to hide my face. The rock cried out, no hiding place. There's no hiding place down there. Oh, the rock cried, I'm burning too. Oh, the rock cried, I'm burning too. Oh, the rock cried, I'm burning too. I want to go to heaven as well as you. There's no hiding place down there. Oh, the sinner man, he gambled and failed. Oh, the sinner man, he gambled and failed. Oh, the sinner man gambled. He gambled and failed. He wanted to go to heaven, but he had to go to hell. There's no hiding place down here. That's the Song of Zion, number 141. Sadly, Hollywood has an agenda when it comes to blacks. Number one, make our history a joke. Feminize the black man, number two. Number three, defeminize the black woman, virilize her, make her strong, make her mighty, make her, she can do any damn thing. She's a superwoman. Number four, blacks killing other blacks. Number five, blacks are homosexuals. Yes. This is what the agenda is, see? I'm sorry. I've been a black man all my life. I've dealt with black women before I got married. And I dealt with my wife for 50 years. I know that my wife and black women, they want to be respected. I know that my wife and black women, they want to be held. They want to be kissed. They want to be told, I love you. You're my everything. I need you. But that's not what they want to put in their movies. That's what they hated about The Cosby Show. They don't want to see a black man loving a black woman because they want you to be traumatized. They want the black woman to be traumatized. They want the black woman to be put down. Yes, I will not deny there are some women in very bad situations. There are some women who have men who need to have their ass whooped. But you know what? Back in the day when the families was close, if you beat on somebody's sister, they come whip your ass, baby. I know my sons. I got 5 sons. And I only got 1 daughter. And I know if somebody would have fucked over my daughter, they would have went and whooped his ass. Get the hell out of here. FBA all the way. They all got this gay agenda. When they made, in a sense, when they made super Batwoman, they had her being gay. She wanted to marry a white person. You know, in all these movies, they had a gay agenda's got to be love. They had a show called Black Lightning. In that show, Black Lightning, they had the black woman in there. She had to go with the Chinese. Every movie you just about see now, it's always the black person, you know, is usually gay. Why is that? That's because they be trying to send a message to our children. They be trying to tell our children that hey, be with the same sex, because they want you to be with the same sex. Why do they want you to be with the same sex? I'm going to tell you why they want you to be with the same sex. They want you to be with the same sex because if you are with the same sex, you can't reproduce. A man and a man cannot reproduce a child. A woman and a woman cannot reproduce a child. It takes a man and it takes a woman to reproduce a child. That's why they don't want you to have. They don't want you to have that relationship. They don't want you to be there. They don't want you to be there. See? You know, I look around. I was talking the other day to this sister, and she was talking about, she looked around at all these, a lot of old men, and all these men are by themselves, and a lot of these men, in a sense, are sick. They don't have nobody to take care of them because they wanted to be playboys when they were younger. They didn't want to settle down with a woman, or if they had a child out of wedlock, they didn't want to help that child, you know, to grow up, and they didn't want to be in that person's family. And now they're by themselves. Now they're by themselves. A black man and a black woman are not meant to be by themselves. They should be together. But sometimes we get to be too smart. The Color Purple is a 1982 novel by Alice Walker. It won the 1983 Pulitzer Prize. In The Color Purple, we are presented with the terrible black man oppressing black women that finds true love with another woman. Yes, yes. It was, you know, these women are supposed to find true love. They couldn't find true love with a black man, but they're supposed to find true love with a woman. I don't see it. I don't see it. I don't see it. Alice Walker, she was married to this white man, Melvin Rosenman Leventhal. They were married between 1967 and 1976. They had a child, you know. She really didn't try to raise her child. She didn't feel that she should raise her child because she was a feminist, and a true feminist doesn't want to raise their child. Yes, if a true feminist wants to maybe have another woman lover, but she didn't even want to raise her daughter. Listen to her daughter. Her daughter was on NPR talking about the fact how her mom, in a sense, could not really show her love. Her mom could not really show her attention. That's why we have children. That's why we have children. I'll admit, my generation, my mother, my grandmother, she never told me she loved me. I talked to a sister from the Caribbean. She said her mom and dad never told them they loved them, but they showed that they loved you. They loved you. See? But my wife, when I got married, you see, she said, I love you. You love me. We're going to show our children love. You see? I got married. I told my wife, I'm going to whoop the kids with an ironing cord, like my mom and daddy whooped me. I'm going to whoop my kids with one of them thick old belts. You know, I'm going to whoop the hell out of them young bucks. My wife let me talk. And then she said, Clyde, you're not whooping my kids with no ironing cord. I said, they my kids too. She said, you're not whooping my kids with no ironing cord. You can spank them, but you sure ain't going to whoop them because that's a white man shit. That's what the white man did to us. He whipped us with ironing cords. He whipped us with thick belts. He whipped us with whips. And she said, nigga, what? You ain't going to do that in my house. So I had to slink away and say, damn, why can't a man do something? But she was right. She was right. She was right. She told me, and when I was talking to a friend of mine yesterday, she said, but aren't you glad you didn't do that, Clyde? Because maybe your kids would resent you today. I said, maybe you're right. You see? That's what it means when it's a man and a woman working in partnership. And FBA women are not going to let you do what you want if you're going to be mean to your children. She ain't going to let you do that. See? She ain't going to let you do that. Because she understands that if you love her, you should love your children the same way. If you love her, you should love your children just as hard as you love their mama. But Alice Walker, she had these children, a girl, well, she had one girl. She couldn't show her love because she felt that the only way she should show love is to another woman and they should be lesbians. Nothing wrong with that if that's what you want to do. But why couldn't you love your child too? Sad. The New Color Purple remake is produced by whites. It's written by Marsha Norman. There's Marsha Norman up there with her bleached hair. It's directed by a non-FBA, Blitz Bazuwali. He's a Ghanaian rapper, you see. The Color Purple remake was to remind us of the old plantation ways the master and overseer implanted in us to make us hate each other and cause a divide between FBA men and women. Do you know what? The first thing that Black people did when they was freed from slavery is they went around the country trying to find their loved ones, their wives, their daughters, their children. Sometimes they found them, but they spent their time when they settled down. They married their wives. They stayed with their wives. They stayed with their husband. They didn't beat their wife ass. They didn't try to be no overlord. See, the Black woman was conditioned to be the leader of the family. And the Black woman was conditioned to be the leader of the family because on the plantation, the white man made sure that Black man had no control over the damn family. But that didn't mean he didn't love his woman. One of the best films I saw was Emancipation. In there was Will Smith. And in Emancipation, Will Smith plays this character. And this character, he's supposed to be a kind of troublemaker. So he's sold by his master. But before he leaves his wife and his children, he said, I'm coming back. Before he left his wife and children, he said, I'm coming back to y'all. Yo! At the end of the film, after his trials and tribulation, after fighting in the Civil War, he comes back in his military uniform and he grabs his wife and he hugs her and he grabs his children and he hugs them because that's what true Black love is. But they want you to look at this color purple. They want you to believe that we always think our women ugly. Fuck you, excuse me. Fuck, excuse me. Fuck, excuse me. You're not listening to Umar. I know Umar always say things 3 times. But fuck you. We got the most beautiful women on the damn planet. Don't you dare make a movie to make me feel that we think you ugly and we're going to whoop your ass. That is illogical. But see, that's what Alice Walker felt because she came mixed up. I don't know what happened in her family. I don't know what made her see the family like that. See? She tried to marry a white man, and then she couldn't stay with the white man. She had a baby, and she didn't even try to raise her child. But she was satisfied in a lesbian relationship. Why are you satisfied in a lesbian relationship? How can you love her, that lesbian, when you couldn't even love your own child? Something wrong with you. You're mentally ill. I have nothing against homosexuality. You live your life the way you please, But when it comes to a family, it should be a man and a woman and a child or children. I blame its root within the slave family. Yes, that's where the war between black men and black women came from. I blame its roots within the slave family because we must always fight white supremacy. There's no hiding place down there. There's no hiding place down there. Oh, I went to the rock to hide my face. The rock cried out, no hiding place. There's no hiding place down there. Oh, the rock cried, I'm burning too. Oh, the rock cried, I'm burning too. Oh, the rock cried, I'm burning too. I want to go to heaven as well as you. There's no hiding place down there. Oh, the sinner man, he gambled and failed. Oh, the sinner man, he gambled and failed. Oh, the sinner man, he gambled and failed. He wanted to go to heaven, but he had to go to hell. There's no hiding place down there. Enslaved people could not legally marry in any American colony or state. Colonial state laws considered them property and commodities, not legal persons who could enter into contracts. And marriage was one. Yes, people don't know that marriage is a contract. And it's very much a legal contract. This means that until 1865, when slavery ended, this country, the vast majority of FBA could not legally marry. In these cases, each family member belonged to the same owner. Others lived in near nuclear families in which the father had a different owner than the mother and children. But both slaves and slave owners referred to these relationships between men and women as an abroad marriage. In other words, yeah, they were married, but they were on different plantations. On large plantation slave cabins and the yards of the slave quarters served as a center of interactions among enslaved family members. White people have never wanted us to have stable families. You better remember that. The goal of white supremacy is destruction of the black family. That's what they want to do. They wish they could take you in their hands and just crush you. They want to crush you. There's no hiding place down there. There's no hiding place down there. Oh, I went to the rock to hide my face. The rock cried out, no hiding place. There's no hiding place down there. Oh, the rock cried, I'm burning too. Oh, the rock cried, I'm burning too. Oh, the rock cried, I'm burning too. I want to go to heaven as well as you. There's no hiding place down there. Oh, the sinner man, he gambled and failed. Oh, the sinner man, he gambled and failed. Oh, the sinner man gambled, he gambled and failed. He wanted to go to heaven, but he had to go to hell. There's no hiding place down there. This Negro spiritual explains our dilemma. I ran to the rock to hide my face. The rock cried out, no hiding place. Yes, yes, yes. This Negro spiritual was telling us something. It was giving us a message. I ran to the rock to hide my face. The rock cried out, no hiding place. Offhand, this old Negro spiritual would have no meaning at all. But in the context of oral tradition, this spiritual gives import to certain aspects of the African American experience here in the U.S. First of all, this spiritual represented at the time of its conception the want of African people in America to ignore their ancestry in Africa and the shame of being black in a mass of white. This premise was proven by the study of African history. When our early ancestors came to America from Africa, they were divided culturally and politically from their opposite. Members of the same ethnic group were separated from one another. First, we were not permitted to retain any of our values originating in Africa overtly. Some values of African origin were retained by African people in America covertly. However, they were somewhat altered to compensate for the differences in geographical, social, and etc., which existed here as opposed to Africa. In America, for example, African dance, the drum, in some instances, religions, atheists or Islam, as well as the family union. Instead, the African was forced to adopt alien values and attitudes that seemed inhuman and individualistic when they were compared to those of the African. In African, we had a society. Our society was human. Our society was communal. Granted, in African society, there was individual unity of the self, but there was also congregational unity as well, which meant that though the individual had the right to define his own existence and movement in society, she also had to give some attention to the rights of others. Yes, we had to respect our fellow man. We had to respect our fellow woman. This resulted in the individual African steady progress towards whatever goal he or she might have, but not at the expense of the social group or congregation. Yes, yes. We had to think in terms of the fact that, yes, we're going to grow. Yes, I want to be successful, but I want you to be successful too. But I'm not going to try to hinder you. I'm not going to try to keep you back from being all that you could be. There's no hiding place down there. There's no hiding place down there. Oh, I went to the rock to hide my face. The rock cried out, no hiding place. There's no hiding place down there. Oh, the rock cried, I'm burning too. Oh, the rock cried, I'm burning too. Oh, the rock cried, I'm burning too. I want to go to heaven as well as you. There's no hiding place down there. Oh, the sinner man, he gambled and fell. Oh, the sinner man, he gambled and fell. Oh, the sinner man, he gambled and fell. He wanted to go to heaven, but he had to go to hell. There's no hiding place down there. The African was a communalist, and the Aboriginal too, in that he was socialized, i.e., he knew how to live with and help his fellow man by being able to accept his opposite, Black people, Tuimtu wa Jamoa or Jamia Yawatu. And that's Swahili, that means the unity of people. He understood the need of recognizing and helping his fellow man, and that all people, especially Black people, are dependent on each other. Yes, for the survival of the whole, you and me. The art of community interaction was learned from the experience of the family life, at which time the African or the Aboriginal was taught to respect and love not only his family, but elders and other tribal members also. The African or the Aboriginal's whole life before he was brought to America or before he was placed on the plantation revolved around the tribal unit and family. Granted, all Aboriginal and African cultures are not the same, but there are some similarities because even cultures of the same type can be in different milieu or phases. But except for some places in Africa or in America, you lived in a village. In the village, neither stranger or villager went hungry for lack of food. That's one of the reasons why when you read the Aboriginal literature, when you read about the Aboriginal Black people, my mother, she said, I have Choctaw heritage. So anyway, if you read about the Aboriginals, they can never call Caucasians human beings. They never saw Caucasians as human beings. They saw them as a creature, but they couldn't see them as human beings because of the way they treated each other and they treated us, you see. In the village, neither stranger or villager went hungry for lack of food. It was available to any member of a particular ethnic grouping, for every door was open to another, and all were willing to support each other because who knew when they might need a helping hand. This was especially true of the people of West Africa and North America, that part of Africa which supplied most of the slaves to America. This is not the idle hearsay, but facts documented by early Arab travelers and historians, both domestic and alien Arabs such as Al-Qadi, Al-Sadi, Al-Masudi, Al-Idrisi, Al-Bahri, and others. All of these people talk about how we treated each other in Africa. When you read the literature by James Adair and others, when they talk about the Aboriginal Black people, they talk about the fact that the Aboriginal Black people, they treated each other as human beings. They believed in one God, but they also felt that the land was not theirs alone. The land was everybody in the village. The Aboriginal Black people and African Black people had the same values. They saw the world the same. You see, one of the Arab writers, he wrote, and I quote, all these persons of Mali, the ancient West African state, sent me hospitality, gifts of food, and treated me well with the utmost generosity. May God reward them for their kindness. You'll find it when those Europeans, when those travelers who traveled throughout North Carolina, traveled out throughout Virginia, when they even made their way to the Midwest, they talk about all these Black Indians who, when they met them, they treated them with respect. They tried to speak to meet them and provide hospitality. You see? That's in us. That's in us. How do you expect me to want to have my children, or I want my grandchildren, have my grandchildren, and me look at some film called The Color Purple, looking in the film where they're showing a black man whooping a woman's ass, a black man mistreating other black women, a black man being mean. When I didn't treat my wife bad, my father didn't treat my mother bad, uncles, aunties, people in the damn neighborhood. I didn't see nobody kicking no black woman's ass. So why would I want my grandchildren? Why would I want to see a film that's just trying, in a sense, yeah, they got it all looking nice. They got it all looking pretty. They got on pretty costumes. But they got the brothers like they slick. They got the brothers like they trying to pimp a sister. Why the hell you want to pimp your sister? Yeah, there may be people like that, but they didn't never marry. If you was pimping somebody, you was pimping. But they want me to believe, and they want me to take my grandchildren to see a film in which they're going to think that they're supposed to whip their woman's ass. Hell no. My father taught me that the most precious thing on the planet Earth was your wife and your mother. Yes, you might cheat on them, but you don't leave your wife. You don't leave your children. I taught my sons. I have 5 sons, and I told each one of them, I said, I'll love you to death. I'll love you till the day I die, but I don't want to just love you. I don't want to just love you. I said, I got to tell you what my daddy told me. I got to tell you what my daddy told me. My father said, Clyde, a man takes care of his family. So, sons, I want to respect you, and to respect you, you got to take care of your family. You got to treat your wife right, or I'm going to whip your ass. Well, that was when I was younger. Now if I try to whoop somebody's ass, I fall down. They had to pick me up, but I was younger then. Sons, treat your wives nice, and they do. They take care of their families. I respect them. That makes me feel so good inside because I not only love them, but I can respect them. And that's important to me. The tradition of the family and tribe as the most important element in Aboriginal and African society meant that it would have to be dissolved if the slave master was to rule the black slaves and maintain slavery. The Euro-American understanding the necessity of this action will began to divide the Aboriginal and African from his family and tribal members during the slave trade and afterwards. He had full knowledge that once the family structure was destroyed, the African would be somewhat more manageable. The Aboriginal would be more manageable, even if he had remained with his family or tribal group, which would have strengthened his knowledge of self and individual uniqueness. But due to his separation from family and tribe, there soon began to emerge a feeling of confusion and loneliness, resulting from the individual Aboriginal or African being parted from the rest of his tribe. The Euro-American further committed genocide, ethnogenocide, so social genocide against the African and his culture. He wanted to stop us from using our dance, our music, the drum, by forcing the African to replace his values with those of the Europeans. Yes. He wanted to replace our values. He wanted to infect us with Cades, culturally acquired immune identity deficiency syndrome. But he wanted us to do that. He didn't want us to work as a unit. See, he didn't want that black man to be with his woman, because he knew that a black man and a black woman together, they are the most powerful unit on the planet Earth. Yes, family. There's no hiding place down there. There's no hiding place down there. Oh, I went to the rock to hide my face. The rock cried out, no hiding place. There's no hiding place down there. Oh, the rock cried, I'm burning too. Oh, the rock cried, I'm burning too. Oh, the rock cried, I'm burning too. I want to go to heaven as well as you. There's no hiding place down there. Oh, the sinner man, he gambled and fell. Oh, the sinner man, he gambled and fell. Oh, the sinner man gambled, he gambled and fell. He wanted to go to heaven, but he had to go to hell. There's no hiding place down there. To accomplish these goals, destruction of black people and their culture, two things had to be done. First, destroy his native language, and secondly, give them clothes to wear. There was a lack of communication among Africans due to the fact they couldn't speak in their own language, which made it impossible for one black person to speak to another because of the varying dialects spoken and the enslavers' method of putting different ethnic groups together who had no common tongue and who had to speak English, a language he never adequately mastered. This limited his means of communication and the teaching of his history to his children through oral tradition. You disagree? Because if they had children, their children would speak the language of his parents. Right, but wrong. Because in most cases, the African was not permitted the right of family, the union of man and woman. Instead, they were used only as breeders and not as educators. The African man related somewhat to the African woman, but not completely, due to the language barrier, since they were, in a sense, often members of a different tribe. In 1630, the first chattel means property. In 630, the first chattel slaves that were placed on the plantation was 25,000. 25,000 black Irishmen, because they were Catholics, they were made into chattel slaves. And these 25,000 black Irishmen were sent to work on the tobacco and other plantations in the Caribbean and in North Carolina and Virginia. In 1634, Europeans made the first Aboriginals people slaves, chattel slaves. But he knew he couldn't trust the Aboriginal men, so many of the Aboriginal men, they were sent to Bermuda and Jamaica to work on the plantations there. That meant that beginning from 1630 to 1660, in America, in the 13 colonies, it was black Irish men and Aboriginal women who were mating together. That's how we got the surnames, Winters, Crawford, and things like that. You see? Then they didn't bring any Africans over as slaves until after 1664. So that meant for 30 years, the basic people on the plantation were black Irishmen, Welsh, Catholics, and Aboriginal women. Later, they took the children too to make them slaves. Okay. In some cases, black women were permitted to teach their children some things about their African and Aboriginal ancestry, but not much history could be relayed about the woman's role in traditional Aboriginal African societies. Is one of homemaker or farm labor, depending on the tribe, and subordinate to the men. This being the case, she was often unfamiliar with oral traditions and could not teach her offspring anything of their greatness. If you remember, even when we hear about Alex Haley, it was Alex Haley's grandma and aunties who knew the history. And the reason that grandmas and aunties would often know the history was because the fact is that whereas many men were sold, sometimes women were allowed to stay on the plantation, and they were sometimes allowed to stay on their plantations with their daughters. And so they would pass on this oral tradition, So that's one of the reasons why we find that in foundational Black American culture, the Jolie, or the oral historian in most families is usually grandma or the aunties. And that's because the aunties and the grandmoms were usually privy to the history of the family. You see? Because remember, Black men were usually out working, or sometimes the fathers didn't live in the same huts with their wives. Sometimes, as I told you in the beginning of this discussion, often the black man would live on a different plantation, you see, than his wife. One of the reasons that the black man would live on a different plantation than his wife is because of the fact, in a sense, is that way he wouldn't always be so angry, because it would be difficult for a man to watch his wife being beaten by a driver or being beaten by an overseer. So if you were on a different plantation, you may hear about maybe the cruelty that your wife may have experienced, but you didn't have to see it, you see. Because if you would have had to see it, then it may have forced you to have to take in the hands, in a sense, to protect her, you see. As slavery progressed, and as the woman began taking over more and more responsibility for the welfare of the family, conflicts arose between black men and black women. Black women, new to the status and power given them by the slave master over their families, soon began to picture themselves as having the role as the dominant member of the family, thus forcing the black man to become an inferior, voiceless and powerless over the destiny of himself and his children. He was not allowed to play his traditional role of master of the family. As the black woman gained more power, quote unquote, over the family and her husband, she soon became tired of her role as a provider. For in most cases, no woman wants to play the dominant role forever and wanted to stop. But how could she? The black man could earn no wages most of the time to support his family, you see, as he could in Africa or being in the wild as an Aboriginal. Now the master did that. And as you see, slavery changed the role of the African and Aboriginal black man and his woman. Yes, it changed the roles, you see. It changed the roles. And the European, and even up to this day, I remember when we used to go shop for stuff, and we would go to buy furniture, and we would go into these stores, and as soon as we walked into the store, me and my wife, the white man instead of talking to me, he'd go talk to my wife first, you see, and my wife would say, "Hey, you got to talk to my husband. We're here together." See, but they always intuitively, instinctively, they try to separate the black man and the black woman. That's why in a sense, they promoted the color purple, because they feel the color purple 2021, the color purple 1985. This film can be used as a wedge to keep black men and black women separated. After slavery, the black woman in most cases remained the head of the household. But because she was a woman, she began to hate this role and feel sorry for herself. The blame for this condition was naturally put on her mate due to his failure to exert his manhood or even protect his children from the horror of the hangman's rope, or his wife from rape. For the woman could not or did not want to understand who the real cause of her husband's shortcoming was. And soon the black woman began to down him. And as she started getting on his case in front of their children, they in return started to lose respect for their father. In some cases, the children had no idea of the real cause of their father's despair. And the woman looked towards the mother for all. The woman then set out to teach her children that men are no good, especially stressed in female siblings. Or another common saying is, be like the white folks. After years of this type of experience, the female grows up with the same attitude of dominating their families and men in general. So many black women try to compare their husband's progress to that of the white man who is successful and who she subconsciously has been taught is the ultimate in a man, at least in his ability to achieve material rewards, a person who the black man should emulate. The husband feels inferior, as any man would if he is betrayed by that which he holds dear. The dominating woman's effect on her offspring does not stop at that. You see, no, it did not stop at that. I ran to the rock to hide my face. The rock cried out, "No hiding place." The dominating woman's effect on her offspring does not stop at the daughters, because her attempts at dominating her man teaches our sons to be suspicious of women. For black men begin to see their women as the enemy because of their consistent nagging. He may feel that she is in competition with him, so he does not trust her. Instead, he sees the black woman in the image of his mother, who dominated or tried to dominate the family. The black man and black women began to fight over who will dominate the family. and they grow further and further apart, playing into the hands of the master, unseen but present, who divides and rules. For although there can be legitimate love between two people, if there's no mutual respect, there can be no bond between them. And as a result, they may as well be apart. Yes, yes. If there's no mutual respect between a man and a woman, there can be no relationship. No, there can be no relationship. No! I ran to the rock to hide my face. The rocks cried out, no hiding place. Soon the black man begins to envy the white man's power, while the black woman envies the white woman's security. Realizing they are black, they soon begin to lose the hope for turning white and doing what whites do, because their skin is black. Wherever they go, there will be no disguise, no hiding place. You see? You see? You see? How that slave experience, it not only created trauma, but it's the wedge that continues to be used to try to break us apart. That's why after slavery, we fought so hard to get married and have our women with us and try to have our women be able to respect us. And the European, the Caucasian, has done everything to make sure that he always put you in a bad position. On the damn plantation doing sharecropping, the black man had a little respect. But once we went to the city, they had jobs for black women as maids and custodians, but a brother had to learn how to hustle. That's the first word you learn in the street growing up as a brother. You got to get your hustle on. My father, he always had a job, so I mean, hey, that I knew that hustle wasn't going to get me nowhere. I knew that from my father that a man makes it as a job. But from hearing the people on the street who was trying to hustle, how you gonna hustle? How you gonna make a hustle, man? How you gonna hustle up some cash for your woman, man? Do you understand? Do you understand? The European has been deliberately trying to make sure that he allowed our women to do more than we could do, to put us in a trick bag. You see? That's why they made the color purple, to try to get women to see some negativity and not to understand that a man and a woman works together. It's a partnership. But it can never be where the man is on top and the woman on bottom. It's got to be both people working together. But the European since slavery has always been trying to make sure that he separate us. He separate us from our families. And he especially separate the man from his woman. The African American then had another idea. Am I not an American? Ain't I assimilated? I speak his language and wear his clothes. Am I not like him? For years I have tilled American soil, built her buildings, and fought her battles with her lighter sons. World War I, World War II, Korea, Vietnam, Iraq, Afghanistan. Have I won the right to be called an American? For I have nothing else. For you see, the African American, the foundational Black American, have been driven to total imitation of the European by what he thought was assimilation. But really, it wasn't assimilation, it was association in disguise. To assimilate meant that African people, foundational Black Americans, must ignore all that is real, his family, lifestyle, parents, women in color, and most of all, an abandonment of his humanness and love of your brethren, for individualism and mistreatment of others. He was given shoes and clothes to wear, which limited his movement, and also created a greater susceptibility to sickness. Yes, yes, yes. Freedom, forcing him to become a slave to material objects. The African urge to assume a white identity was so strong that they disfigured their features, right? And processed their hair. Yeah, didn't they press it? But still, they found no hiding place. Their color was still there. The Black man had been further destroyed at the conception of the already stated Negro spiritual by myths resulting from a history, suffering from an ongoing rape and disfigurement by Europeans, making it appear as if African people have no history except that which was dictated by the European, such as slavery, colonialism, quote unquote freedom and abolition. I ran to the rock to hide my face. The rocks cried out, no hiding place. In conclusion, the old Negro spiritual, I ran to the rocks to hide my face. The rocks cried out, no hiding place. There's no hiding place. It's in reference to the plight of the African American, the foundational Black American who must, at an early age, in an earlier era, have had to assimilate or die. For if he rebelled, he became a shadow that was living in flesh. It tells of being forced into believing you were not what you were, Black, but something else. And all you had to do was play the game of imitation. All you had to do was play a game that an African can never play and win, because his personality, yes, our personality, is different from that of the European. And one day come forth from the depths within, for the power of our African consciousness, our Aboriginal consciousness, is too powerful to lie dormant forever. The only way we end the war between Black men and women is to fight the impulse to follow the directions of white people and come together to form families made up of the Black man and his woman. Yes, we have to come together. In summary, finally, there's been a long history for the divide between Black men and women, a divide that must be closed if we are to have strong families and true FBA love. The color purple has been a major tool in furthering this divide, but due to the new Black media and others, we must work to close this divide and unite the Black man and the Black woman. Okay, I'm going to put my slides in the Patreon. So if you join my Patreon, and you can see the slides. Don't forget, I'm on Twitter at Dr. Clyde Winters 8, and you can follow me on TikTok.com at Clyde Winters 3. There you can view my shorts. I put some shorts also here on this channel. This is my YouTube channel, and this is where you'll find almost 300 videos that deal with every aspect of Black history. Check out these videos. Join them. I'm going to be on this site every Thursday. So come to this platform if you want to hear some of my Thursday discussions. You can order my books at Amazon.com. Okay, I hope that you guys will support Yoshimad. Yoshimad is a very great individual, and he can help your business to do better.
At Yoshimad Productions, we're here to take your brand and creativity to new heights. From EPKs to AI commercials, animated music commercials to animated AI bios, book covers to picture flyers, and so much more, we've got you covered. Our team is dedicated to delivering high-quality, cutting-edge designs that leave a lasting impression. And for our valued clients, we offer exceptional creativity, a customer-centric approach, and work that reflects the latest trends and technologies. Just about making art, we're about creating experiences. Your brand, your vision, our artistry. Professionalism and reliability are the cornerstones of everything we do. We're more than a service, we're your creative partners. If you're ready to make your brand shine, look no further than Yoshimad Productions. Join us in the journey of creativity. Contact us today and let's make your vision a reality. At Yoshimad Production, Yoshimad Productions.
Okay, so I hope you guys enjoyed the presentation, and I hope you will support Yoshimad and his site. His site can make his stuff real cool. We have a little time left, and if there are any questions, you can put them in the chat, and I'll try to answer them since I have a little time left. How you doing, Melvin Reed, Darlene X? How you guys doing out there? Mm. Oh, okay. Yeah. Since there's no questions, thank you guys for showing up. Let's see. Let's see. Here's a question: Was the Taraji Henson tears about pay a distraction from the conversation today? No. It was just one of those things. She just was. I think what it was is she was absorbed by the simple fact that she felt that she wasn't getting paid the monies which she felt that she should be paid. And so then I think that those tears only reflected the sadness. See, to me, Taraji Henson, I think that's her name. She suffers from Cades. What I mean by suffers from Cades is that by her suffering from Cades, she believes that she's just as good as any white woman, and she believes that since she's just as good as any white actress, that she should get the same pay. That's the wrong belief. See, you should never think that you're just as good as any white person. You should believe that you're better. I repeat, you're better than a white actress. But you remember, in a sense, that because of the fact that they refuse to respect you, because of the fact, in a sense, that they don't want to look upon you and treat you with respect, then therefore, in a sense, you should understand that they're going to always make it difficult for you to make money. And okay, some people are saying that Taraji should attack Oprah, and I think Oprah is the number one Uncle Tom that you can find. But at the same time, Oprah is a number one Uncle Tom. She still has to play her role, and Taraji knows that if she attacks Oprah, then that could cause her more problems. But she just was overcome with her blackness temporarily, you know. Okay, here's another question by Darlene X. Which of your books should start with for an 11-year-old? For an 11-year-old, I think you should start with my book, the the history of the black world. When I talk about the history of black people all over the world, but you know, a person that's a person I think that people should really check out is a guy called Sean James, and Sean James, he has made some beautiful books, and in Sean James' books, he really, in a sense, allows young black men, young black boys and girls to understand and love their culture. So if you really want to get some books for someone who's 11 years old, try to check out the books of Sean James on Amazon. Sean James has written, he has a series called Esteem, and in his series called Esteem is positive. And what he shows black girls and black women how they should love themselves, how they can be superheroes. So you should check out Sean James. Go to Amazon.com, check out Sean James, and buy some of his books. And his books will really help your child to really understand who and what they are. They can get a black consciousness, and this black consciousness can help them to fight. I repeat, can help them to fight, in a sense, Cades. So it's very important. Okay, here's another one. Okay. Nita Williams said Taraji didn't stand on her blackness like Monique. That's true. You know, and that because the fact is, this is that, as I said, all of us have a little Cades, culturally acquired immune deficiency syndrome, you see. And although in a sense we all have a tad of it, often we don't really want to look at it and really accept the fact that you have to fight Cades. And the way you fight Cades and the way you can overcome that particular, in a sense ailment is to love yourself and stick to your and love, and by loving yourself, that means that you're going to try to do everything you can to make yourself all the person that you can be. How you doing there, Yoshi Mott? What up, though? Again, any more questions? Well, I'd like to, is that me and Sister Shanice, we're going to, me and Sister Shanice, we're going to be teaching this class. And this particular class, it's going to be it's going to begin January 22nd. And in this class, me and Sister Shanice, we're going to be teaching a class on Black British history. It's an online class. We're going to start on January 22nd. If you want to join the class, it's a 6-week class. You can it's for £200. Over the next 4 days, you can get 49 pounds off, and you can join the class. But I hope that you guys will join this class. And by joining this class, those of you in England, because it is going to be taught on UK time, the class will take place at 7:30 UK time. That's 12:30 in the United States. So if you guys want to take this class on Black British history, it's going to begin January 22nd. You can go to Sister Shanice at Gumroad, and you can sign up for the class if you're interested in joining. So okay, so again, be one, hug your mom, hug your dad, hug your family, stay strong, Ujima. Okay, let me see. Go Travel Abroad says, Darlene Ashe. Yes, today is mindful of Ujima, that collective work that brings collective independent prosperity. True, but also we have to mainly think about umoja. And umoja means unity in the sense that we have to be a unified people, Ashe. And so it is. Okay, again, thank you guys for coming in, and I guess we'll end the program. Again, see you next time, next week, 3 p.m., same station, and I'm going to be here on my platform. Oh yeah, on January 7th, that's a Sunday. Me and Yoshimad, we're going to do a program every Sunday at 7 p.m. Central Time, 8 p.m. Eastern Time. This show that me and Yoshimad is going to do is going to be called, Then and Now. And it's going to be called Then and Now because it's going to be two brothers, an old brother from the then, and a new brother and a young brother, Yoshimad, from the now. We're going to discuss topics and try to give different perspectives. So I hope you guys again will join us on January 7th, 7 p.m. Central Time, 8 p.m. Eastern Time for Then and Now. And again, every Thursday I'm going to be on my own platform. So come here, check me out, join us, and share the love. Peace. Take care.